August 1914. The world has gone mad. They called it the Great War, the war to end all wars. I was just a farm boy from Provence, my hands more used to a spade than a rifle. But when the posters went up, when the bells rang out across our village, a fire lit up in all of us. Patriotism, they called it. We marched off with flowers in our rifle barrels, promising to be home by Christmas. We were so young, so foolish. We had no idea what was waiting for us. The journey north was a blur of cheering crowds and patriotic songs. We were the heroes of France, off to defend the motherland from the German invaders. We arrived at the front near the Marne, and the songs died on our lips. The air thick with the smell of gunpowder and something else, something sweet and rotten, clung to everything. This wasn't the glorious battlefield from the paintings. This was mud, a sea of it, stretching as far as the eye could see, pockmarked with craters and tangled in barbed wire. And in this mud, we were told to dig. Our new home was a ditch, a long winding scar in the earth we called a trench. It was barely wide enough for two men to pass. The walls were shored up with planks and sandbags, but they were always damp, always crumbling. We lived like rats. Water pooled at our feet, a cold, filthy soup of mud, rainwater, and things I try not to think about. Rats, fat from feasting on the dead, scurried over us as we slept. Lice were a constant torment, an itch that could drive a man to madness. My uniform, once a proud horizon blue, was stained with mud and sweat. The heavy wool was suffocating in the summer and did little to keep out the biting winter cold. On my back, I carried my life. The Liebel rifle, a long, clumsy thing, was my constant companion. My pack held a few precious things: a spare set of clothes, a mess tin, a water bottle, a small pouch of ammunition, and a tattered photograph of my mother and father. At night, I would trace their faces with a dirty finger, a reminder of a world that felt 1,000,000 miles away. Days bled into one another in a monotonous cycle of fear and boredom. Stand to at dawn, peering over the parapet into the misty no-man's land, rifle ready. Stand down, then the endless work of repairing the trench, bailing out water, or carrying supplies under the cover of darkness. Food was a lottery. Sometimes we got fresh bread and a piece of singe, monkey meat we called the canned beef. Other times it was just hardtack biscuits, so tough you could break your teeth on them. We'd soak them in our wine or coffee to make them edible. The boredom was a curse, but the noise was worse. It never stopped. A constant, dull roar of artillery in the distance, punctuated by the sharp crack of a sniper's rifle or the terrifying whistle of an incoming shell. We learned to distinguish the sounds: the friendly rumble of our own 75s firing, the menacing shriek of a German whiz-bang. You'd hear it coming and have just a second to throw yourself flat, praying it wasn't your name on that shell. Then came the attacks. The order would come down the line, a whispered word passed from man to man. Over the top. Your heart would hammer against your ribs, a wild bird trapped in a cage. Your mouth would go dry. You'd fix your bayonet, the cold steel seeming to suck the warmth from your hands. You'd say a quick prayer, a quick goodbye to the man next to you. Then the whistle would blow, a shrill, piercing sound that cut through the din. Clambering over the sandbags, out of the relative safety of the trench, was the hardest thing I've ever done. You enter a world of pure chaos. The air is filled with smoke, shrapnel, and the screams of men. Machine guns chatter, a relentless mechanical reaper cutting down rows of your friends. You run, you fall, you get up, you keep running. You don't look at the bodies you're stepping over, some of them wearing the same uniform as you. You just run, your throat raw from screaming, firing your rifle at gray shapes in the smoke. I remember one charge, near Verdun. We made it to the German line, a nightmare of twisted wire and splintered wood. We fought hand to hand in their trench. It wasn't glorious. It was brutal, clumsy, and terrifying. Bayonets, trench clubs, sharpened shovels, men grunting and screaming, fighting like animals in a pit. I survived. I don't know how. I made it back to our line that night, covered in mud and blood that wasn't all mine. Of the 100 men who went over with me, less than 20 returned. We lost friends every day. Not just in the big attacks, but in the quiet moments too. A sniper's bullet finding its mark, a random shell landing in a dugout, or the diseases that thrived in the filth. Trench foot, where your feet would swell and rot in the constant wet. Dysentery. Gas. The gas was the worst. A silent, creeping cloud of yellow-green death that choked the life out of you, burning your lungs from the inside. The first time we saw it, we panicked. Now, the clumsy gas mask is the first thing we reach for. The world seen through its fogged-up lenses is a distorted, hellish vision. There are moments of camaraderie, of course. We share our last cigarette, our last piece of chocolate. We read letters from home to those who can't read. We sing sad songs in the dugout, our voices a small defiance against the noise of the war. We become brothers, bound by a shared experience no one else could ever understand. We joke, because if we don't laugh, we will cry. And if we start crying, we might never stop. Years have passed. It's 1917 now. Christmas has come and gone 3 times, and I am still here. The farm in Provence is a distant dream. I am no longer that boy who marched off with a flower in his rifle. This trench has become my world. The fear has become a constant companion, a cold knot in my stomach that never quite goes away. I see the faces of the dead when I close my eyes. I am 22 years old, but I feel like an old man. New soldiers arrive, their faces still fresh, their eyes still bright with a patriotism I no longer recognize. We, the veterans, we look at them and see ghosts. We see ourselves from years ago. We don't tell them what it's really like. They wouldn't believe us anyway. They have to learn for themselves. Sometimes, at night, during my watch, I look up at the stars. They are the same stars that shine over my home. It's the only thing that connects this hell to the world I once knew. I wonder if this will ever end. I wonder if I will ever see that farm again. If I will ever feel the sun on my face without flinching at a loud noise. I don't know. All I know is the mud, the noise, and the name of this place, the trench. And I pray, every single day, that I will live to see the next sunrise. Thank you for watching this story. The experiences of soldiers in the Great War were a testament to human endurance in the face of unimaginable horror. If you found this story moving, please consider liking and subscribing for more historical narratives.